Hello, friends. Welcome in. It's just after high noon. May I be the first to say good afternoon to you on this Tuesday, June 4. Is that right? Man, oh, man. June just flying by. Tuesday, June 4th, 2024. Thank you for being with us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. Each day, Monday through Friday, when I'm not here, well, something else happens. When I am here, we do the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk from noon until 3, 180 minutes. That's our allotment of time. And I do hope that you're able to spend each and every moment with us. It is episode 584 of these proceedings. More on that in a moment. More on where you can listen. It's also LFT 94. That's Locks for Trump, day 94, as I grow my hair out in support of a new president of the United States of America, and I shall not cut my hair. I may amend the previous announcement, the previous commitment to not cutting my hair, in as much as I might. Don't give me the look. Don't give me the look. Why am I getting the look? I'm already getting the look from you. I don't want the look from you. I haven't even introduced you.
Nothing needs to be amended. Leave it alone.
What I'm telling you is that I may solicit a hair professional to make it look a little nicer and neat. Can I neaten it up?
No.
I'm not going to cut it.
If you're doing anything to it that requires removal,
if I make it look acceptable.
No. It's not fair.
What do you mean it's not fair?
It's cheating.
You know what? I'm not using you as an end-all be-all. You're not the final judge and jury of this.
It's
the
cheating.
Audience is the final judge and jury of this.
People tell him he's cheating.
No, nobody. This is coming from a man who will not show his ugly face on television. Fair?
Yeah, but I never promised I would.
Secondarily, you're not exactly the person to look to for a fair and objective analysis as to whether or not I need to shape up my hair style.
Oh, absolutely I am, because I never cut my hair, and I know what cutting it is. It's called cheating.
I just want more of a little bit of a Bee Gees look. If I'm going to go with the wings, I want to go all in, like a Barry Gibb type deal.
Well, we both know you're going to do exactly what you want to do, because that's the nature of your personality, but I'm still telling you it's cheating.
I just don't want to compromise my values and my commitment to the listening audience. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to balance a commitment to the audience that I made on March 1st of this year, that I would not cut my hair until we have a new president-elect. That will be November 5th of this year. I have no doubts. I made that promise that I wouldn't do that. At the same time, I feel a commitment to look presentable for this radio station and this radio company, especially as I prepare to go out and about. I mean, I was out last Friday. People commented. I was out today. I was visiting with a good friend of the show, Raul Lopez, with Men of Valor. Great organization. And he made the comment, man, he said, and I quote, "Man, your hair really is getting along, isn't it?" And I said, yes, it is.
And every time somebody mentions that, it gives you an opportunity to promote the reason you're doing it.
That's right. We all need to do our part to support Donald J. Trump for president of the United States of America. And I'm trying to do my little part. I just, I'll throw it out on the members, nutrition.com super text line, 615-737-9986. That's the way to get a hold of us. If you, do you consider trimming to be cutting? Do you consider to be shaping up cutting your hair? Is trimming okay? Is trimming the ends an okay thing to do? Brian says your commitment came with a little shaggy. I don't know what that means. That sounds dirty, Brian.
It's got something to do with Scooby Snacks.
Maybe so. Reggie. So lots to get into today, not the least of which So apparently in the Hunter Biden trial, a juror has become emotional during the defense's opening statement. You already have, we were talking about it during the crossover with Chris Hand, you already have several jurors that have drug addiction in their families, et cetera, but they say that they can be open-minded with regard to the case. I'm on record as saying the fix is already in on this. And I'm here for the show. I'm here for the fix. I do not believe that there is a world in which Hunter Biden is found guilty of the charges against him, and I sure as hell don't believe that any jail time will be served, despite the fact that he clearly violated the law. He knows he violated the law. The prosecution knows he violated the law. The defense knows he violated the law. But the prosecution is not in this to win this. They have no interest in that. Now, I could never prove that they have marching orders, and I would never suggest such if I did not have the proof to back up any such suggestion. We'll get into some of that as the show moves forward. Jill Biden sitting in during opening statements, intimidating the jury, no doubt. Hey, the president is watching your actions today. And the report in that a juror has become emotional during the defense's opening statement. Emotional. Like caterwauling, mad, angry. What kind of emotions are we talking about? Secondarily, we will discuss yesterday's performative art in front of the United States Congress in the form of Dr. Anthony Fauci. I don't mind calling him a doctor. He's a bad doctor. Some are good, some are bad. He's bad. I don't say this lightly, and I made this comment on social media yesterday, and it got a lot of attention, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart, folks. I try not to use such language as, I try not to use words like evil or savior, those types of, I've long tried to avoid framing political figures and political debates with terms like that, savior or evil or, I mean, there are other descriptive terms that I prefer. And I have used the terminology from time to time in past discussions about particular politicians, but I try to do so sparingly and on purpose because words mean things. The great Rush Limbaugh was the first person that I ever heard say it in that fashion. And Limbaugh would say, the Godfather would say, words mean things. And liberals, the political left, they have a habit of moving the language, moving the goalposts, if you will. And so suddenly what used to be bigot becomes racist. What used to be prejudiced becomes bigot. These are examples of how they move the language in a direction of their choosing so as to accomplish their own goals. And I try not to do that. Words mean things. And words can, like a knife, be dulled over time from overuse and misuse. And I try not to do that as well. And I used as an example, and I'll use it here today, as an example, an illustration as to what I'm talking about. I would argue to you that Joe Biden is an ignorant, brainwashed pawn. I would argue that Joe Biden is a useful, corrupt, regurgitated career minion from a bastard black hole of political prostitution that masquerades as centralized bureaucracy. Our federal government. He is a minion of that system. But I don't think Joe Biden is evil. He's just dumb and easily manipulated by evil. And that was even before the dementia. But this Anthony Fauci guy, this Fauci cat, this guy's evil. E-V-I-L, evil. What a massive God complex. And you look behind that smug smirk on his face, and if you can't see it, I don't know what to tell you. You see dead eyes. You see lifeless eyes, like a doll's eyes, as Quint would say. I understand that reasonable people can disagree on whether or not Joe Biden fully understands what he's doing. I don't think he's fully aware of what he's doing, and I don't think he has evil necessarily in his heart. He is a government bureaucrat. He is a minion. He is a useful idiot, in my opinion. But I don't know that he's evil. Anthony Fauci knew exactly what he was doing. He took advantage of an opportunity to create control over the entirety of the United States of America and by extension the world. And he has nothing in his heart that indicates regret, and he has nothing in his worldview that indicates that he feels like he did anything wrong. He has nothing but contempt for those who would have the audacity to question him. And we watched it all afternoon, yesterday afternoon. It is frightening to contemplate that this individual had the ear of either president of the United States of America and had the power and control that he truly did. And 2630, and for those of you, several of you commenting on the membersnutrition.com super text line, no one is excusing the actions of Joe Biden. I'm making a distinction between somebody that is fully aware of the consequences of his actions versus someone who isn't completely all there anymore anyway, and were he even all there, is not smart enough to understand what he's doing. I understand. I mean, I'm not trying to argue with y'all on it, but I would say that I use those terms sparingly for a reason, and I think you should too. I don't think we should consider people that disagree with us in the United States of America evil based on disagreement alone. In order for someone to be evil, words have meaning, and in order for someone to be evil, I would expect that they have not only disregard for their actions, but they understand how their actions are going to negatively impact other people, and they do them anyway because they want to accomplish their goals. So there you go. That said, whether we agree with Joe Biden on my assessment of Joe Biden or not, if you don't agree with me on Dr. Anthony Fauci, I don't know what to tell you. Just look at the man, look at his actions, look at how he brazenly lies today about what he said yesterday, as if we don't have memories, as if we don't have it on tape. We have it all on tape. We know. We know exactly what you said. We know exactly what you did. And you can't lie your way out of what we know, but you don't care about that. All you care about, it seems, power and control and manifesting an environment by which we can push centralized control over individual people across the United States of America and by extension across the world. So that's my reflection on yesterday. Before I get away from it, it is Tuesday. I mentioned that. It's episode 584. I mentioned that. It's LFT 94 on the show. Many of you commenting on whether or not you think a trim is actually a cut. Once again, words mean things, Bell. Words mean things. I don't think trim and cut are the same thing. That's just me on it. We'll continue breaking that down for you. Your telephone calls today at 615-737-9986. If you desire, any time of your choosing over the next 3 hours, we're taking those telephone calls at the aforementioned number. You can also get in your comments on the membersnutrition.com super text line, 615-737-9986. You can listen on the radio airwaves, 99.7 FM, from northern Alabama to southern Kentucky and all points in between. There we are. You can also take us wherever you go in your smartphone technology by downloading our app at Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Take our app where you go, or stream our radio station anywhere that you stream news or music or information by typing in Supertalk 99.7 WTN. For you masochists in the listening audience, hello there. You can also watch the proceedings. Check out the hair growth on Supertalk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Bell K is Headless Bell for a reason, because he chooses not to participate on the television side of things, but he does entitle them. And episode 584 on TV is entitled
Matt Murphy and Queers for Palestine, a match made in Gaza. Libertarian Lunch, noon to 3.
Supertalk 97 WTN. Yes, so when we begin the show in earnest, we're going to talk about Queers for Palestine. Over the weekend, you know, it's Pride Month. By the way, did you see my Pride flag on the X machine?
I did. I liked it.
You like my Pride flag?
I did.
Y'all check my Pride flag out. You go to my page on the X machine, at Matt Murphy Show. That's at MattMurphyShow, at Matt Murphy Show. And you'll see me proudly displaying my Pride flag. As a matter of fact, I don't put it up at the end of June. I display it all the year round. All the year round. You'll see my Pride flag, and you can find it right there on social media on the X machine, at Matt Murphy Show. But June is Pride Month, and there are parades and whatnot going on. There are celebrations and whatnot going on as the gay community, I guess you would call it the LGBTQ plus Two-Spirit plus community. They get together, and they're celebrating all things freedoms and all things proudness about something that they claim they had no birth control over. which, much like Norm Macdonald, as he commented on it prior to his death, I don't really understand. It's not that I'm against you. I don't really care. It's not that I don't believe in freedoms and your freedom to live a life of your choosing so long as you're not denying others their rights and individual liberties. At the same time, you have simultaneously argued to me that you had no control over this dynamic. It was a byproduct of your birth. And at the same time, you're telling me that now at one point, I suppose you were proud of it in as much as people were keeping you in the closet. Nobody's keeping you in the closet anymore. You won. And I don't get it. I don't get it. But it's not for me to get. And it's not for me to deny you a chance to, whatever. Your community allows parades. Your community allows parade permits. Get yourself a parade permit. Don't violate any obscenity laws and have at it. I would argue that God maybe wants his rainbow back, but whatever. What I don't understand, and it was illustrated in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania over the weekend. It was a big, apparently there was a big day one pride parade in Philly, Pennsylvania. And Queers for Palestine and some other groups that were supporting Palestine met up with the other gay people. I don't guess I can call them queers because they don't call themselves queers. And if I call you a queer without you calling you a queer, then suddenly it's homophobic. But you call you a queer and it's okay. Y'all with me so far? Q is the new N-word, apparently, where they get to say it, but if I say it, then I'm not allowed to say it and I get in trouble. That said, the two organized groups met, and they had a little one-on-one or two-on-two or four-on-four or whatever it was, in as much as the Palestinian gay people did not want the other gay people to continue to march because of all of the oppression going on in Palestine, which was very confusing to me because you're dealing with a totality of people that all of whom would be killed if the Palestinians were given an opportunity to do so, at least the ruling authority of the Palestinian people. And this is not Matt Murphy recklessly speculating. This is a fact that homosexuals have zero rights in Palestine and the Gaza Strip. They have zero rights in the West Bank. Oh, they have rights in Israel. Israel is actually the most gay-friendly nation in the Middle East. Every other Arab-based country, Islamic-based countries don't like homosexuals very much, and I can't imagine why a homosexual would support them, considering that they want to kill you. 1744, you're wrong. I'm not upset at all. I've not used the word in my adult lifetime, so I don't have any problem with eliminating that word from my vocabulary. It seems like a lot of black people have a problem eliminating the word from their vocabulary. So if you use the word 1744, you're the problem. I'm not the problem, Chief. And me bringing it up seems to have upset you a hell of a lot more than it upsets me. So you're welcome to call the show at 615-737-9986 and make your voice heard. We're getting into it today on Super Talk 99.7 WTN and the Libertarian Lunch. Stand by. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and let's talk about your structural foundation. The structural foundation of your home, everything emanates from that, right? All of the protection of your family, of your property, it begins and ends with the structural foundation of that house. And if you've been compromised by some sort of damage, if you've been compromised by water and you have waterproofing issues, then you can't depend on anything else rising out of that foundation. We need to get it fixed, and we need the best to do so. The best in the form of USS, United Structural Systems. They've been helping keep homes stable and dry since 1994 for over 30 years now. in our community. They have been the go-to source for all things concrete leveling, all things foundation repair, all things waterproofing of your home. They have well in excess of 25,000 satisfied customers in their databanks. Their testimonies, most of them available online at USSTN.com. I invite you to do your research, and you'll find that the best comes in the form of USS. So whether it's foundation settlement, waterproofing issues, or concrete leveling, whatever your need might be, they have that mold remediation as well going on. You need to contact USS. USS, they guarantee their best since 1994. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855 or USSTN.com. Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy. Nashville Safe House wants you to stop by and see the incredible selection of safes that they have available for you at the one and only Nashville Safe House. Now, they have their showroom space, which includes warehouse space where they house in excess of 200 oftentimes. I mean, it fluctuates, 180, 190, 200, 210 of safes that they have right there in the showroom floor. They also have another secondary warehouse that is chock full of additional safes. We're talking Browning. We're talking Liberty. We're talking Fort Knox. We're talking Rhino. We're talking all of the brands that you know and love. Now, you get to choose from the brand of your choosing, whether it's a gun safe, a jewelry safe, a corporate safe, maybe even a tornado shelter you're thinking about, one of those biometric deals, a smaller unit to have at bedside. You can get it from Nashville Safe House. They are the best when it comes to safes, not just in Nashville, but in Tennessee and the Southeast and well beyond. They have a better selection of Browning safes than anywhere on planet Earth for a reason. Ask Mark and his team when you stop by Nashville Safe House. When it comes to gun buying, you need a safe. And when it comes to safe buying, you need Nashville Safe House. And oh, by the way, don't forget gun safes remain sales tax free at Nashville Safe House. NashvilleSafeHouse.com or across the street from City Cemetery on 4th Avenue South. Go by and see them. Tell them Murphy sent you to Nashville Safe House. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the Matt Murphy Show in progress. Happy to have you with us. Is my information correct, Mr. Belkay, Headless Bell, a.k.a., that Mac Morey a.k.a. Cougar Chow, a.k.a. DTM. He's not here today?
He might be back in time for news, but I was told that was an uncertainty.
An uncertainty.
Yes.
Is he going to be back by Brian Wilson's show?
He's hoping to maybe be here Friday, but he's not sure.
Uh-huh.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, he's supposed to be back at some point.
This afternoon?
Yes.
So I should not throw this gift away that I have for him because, it's today or not. I mean, I've got a gift for him.
I would just give it to me and.
Well, I don't think you'd want it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe you would. Oh, speaking of gifts, look what I brought in today. Look at here.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Look at there.
I shamed you into. Actually,
Look at
your
there.
wife shamed you into it.
Look at there.
Erica made you do it.
She said that I hurt your feelings.
You did.
So,
Absolutely did.
And that Belle's feelings matter, regardless of whether I want them to or not.
That's not necessarily true.
So I brought it in just to show you that there it is. There's Belle's gift to me. Let it not be said that I've never worn Belle's gift on air. Here it is. Wearing it loud and proud. It says...
Took 50 years to
Took 50 years to look this good. That's true. A lot of commentary, by the way, before we get into the Queers for Palestine nonsense, a lot of commentary on my hair. Jonathan has said on, let's see, 1, 2, 3. They make hair gel for making your hair look better. Matt, suck it up and keep your promise. All right.
Well said. Well said, sir.
Mm-hmm. 2630 says, y'all are going to have to kill Mac. Yeah. I don't know that we have to. Let's not confuse have to with want to.
Actually, I want him to get to Kansas City so that at some point he's in the locker room of the Kansas City Chiefs and Mahomes is trying to shake him off of his leg.
Hey, man, get off my leg there, fella. Is this the Cougar Chow I've heard so much?
I've decided that my Patrick Mahomes impersonation is going to be kind of a
Kermit the Frog.
A Kermit the Frog, yeah.
Hello, Patrick Mahomes here.
I can just see Travis Kelce going, dude, get out of my gear bag. You're not going home with me.
Number 15 for the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, so Mac Morey, it is his last week, and he's decided to take some time off this week. So that's all good.
Well, actually, today's not really time off. He's handling personal affairs that require...
He's not here.
Right, but it's not...
Well, when's his last day?
Friday.
Handle it then.
He can't.
Mm-hmm. You know what? You're defending him for some reason that you're going to tell me later on off air, and I'm going to feel bad.
Yes, that is true.
Am I really?
Yes.
Am I really?
Yes.
I've now
I
have nicknamed him dead to me.
It's you, so you may not.
I don't think I'm going to feel bad.
This was not his choice. Let's put it that way.
I'll say this: I made the decision to. It was an executive decision by me to bring his gift in today. Because had I by the time we had gotten to Friday, I'm going to be so dismissive of the human. I mean, because like a classic narcissist, if you're out of my field of vision, then you're dead to me. So
right.
By Friday, I feel like I will not care enough for him to actually give him a gift.
Are we still going to do one final Mac attack?
We are.
You'll have to pay attention during that.
I will.
Okay.
And you and I think...
Well, that's First Amendment Freestyle Friday, too. Mm-hmm. So you promise to pretend like you're interested on those days. So that would be a requirement.
So I'm getting some pushback as we speak on... I offered two separate commentaries. One, a commentary about how words mean things, and how I am loath to use the term evil with many politicians that some consider to be evil. At the same time, I will use it for Anthony Fauci. And I mentioned that the late, great Rush Limbaugh would often say words mean things. Words have meanings. Let's not change the meaning because of our feels. Well, now my own words are being used against me, Bell, as 4752 says, your willful ignorance does not change the meaning of words. Remember, words mean things. And then he he or she sent a screenshot of the Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of the word trim.
Yeah, 4752, that's what we call a spanking.
Trim, a verb. Trimmed in the past tense, trimming. It's transitive. It means to remove by or as if by cutting. Definition number 2, to make trim and neat, especially by cutting or clipping. Definition number 3, to free of excess or extraneous matter by or as if by cutting. What did I say? I said I wouldn't. What did I say I wouldn't do? Cut my hair?
Yeah, so that would be cutting it.
Oh, wait. I could do this. To embellish with or as if with ribbons, lace, or ornaments. So I could put some ribbons in my hair.
Put some tinsel.
Take the ribbon from your hair. Shake it loose and let it fall. It's 12:35 on Super Talk. For about half the gentlemen in the listening audience, there will come a time where you have issues involving yourself and, how do I put this, bedroom activity. There's no other way to put it. Guys, it's something that affects about half of the men in the listening audience at some point as we mature. It's nothing to deny. It's nothing to put off. It's nothing to be ashamed about. It happens, but it is something that you do not want to wait to fix. Guys hate going to the doctor. I get that. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, they understand it as well. They were created in 2014 to take care of guys just like you. For a decade, the urologists and providers at the Tennessee Men's Clinic have done this all day, every day. It's what they specialize in. They specialize in all manner of men's health and men energy-based health and performance. Meaning, if you feel sluggish, run down, low energy, it's time to get with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Even if it's not manifesting itself in the bedroom, this could transition to the bedroom at some point down the road. You want to blanch it before that happens. Guys, it is time to feel amazing again. It is time to hit your goals again. Scheduling is easy. It's usually easy to book same day or the day after appointments. So make the call and make the booking today. 2 locations to serve you. One's in Midtown Nashville since 2014. The other opened last year in Cool Springs, convenient to anywhere within the sound of my voice. Go online to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com or 615-208-9090. 208-9090 for Tennessee Men's Clinic. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy and you. Libertarian Lunchtime Hour continues. We'll get to your telephone calls, your very, very important telephone calls coming up in mere moments. Some of you want to talk about my hair. Some of you want to talk about Hunter Biden and the ridiculous court case going on. And I say ridiculous court case because it's about to get ridiculous. When you've got jurors crying during the defense opening statement as they make an appeal about drug addiction and drug use. Oh, just stop it. Just stop it. Look, I want anyone that has been under the scourge of drugs, anyone that has felt compelled or controlled by drugs, I feel for you. Whether they be pharmaceutical drugs or what are considered, quote unquote, black market or illegal drugs, along the likes of what Hunter Biden was taking. I don't want anyone, even the worst among us, to be prey to a drug addiction. That's not what this trial's about. That's not what this trial's ever been about. It's been lying on a federal form that liberals have claimed to support for all of my life. Background checks. They regularly point to these statistical breakdowns in these polling situations by which individuals say, almost universally, are you in favor of background checks? Yes, sure, I'm in favor of background checks. That's all good. And then they use that to attempt to get further gun control on the books, whether they be red flag laws or other infringements upon our Second Amendment rights in this country to keep, carry, bear, and the right to self-defense and to protect ourselves against tyrannical government. But suddenly, liberals are big supporters of gun rights. Suddenly, liberals don't care about background checks anymore. Suddenly, liberals don't care about individuals that are lying on background checks in order to obtain a weapon. I thought that mattered. Doesn't apparently matter anymore. Not when Hunter Biden's on trial, not when they got to protect old Hunter. I'll tell you this. I fully expect that Hunter Biden will be found not guilty. And I almost long for it, to be honest with you. I expect that Hunter Biden will get off. I almost hope he does. There's no better example of the corruption of our legal system if it should happen, because there's no more clear-cut case of an individual admitting that they were high on drugs while lying about being high on drugs while securing a firearm. The fix is already in. The prosecution doesn't have really any interest in this case, and they're going to demonstrate that. The defense will rely on the soft feelings of some on the jury to ensure that they make this a case about a drug-addicted individual that knows better now and has gotten off the drugs and has gotten his life back together. And that's good. That's fine. In the meantime, there's this. It is a delicious piece of audio that I want to share with you. I don't know who this activist person is, but it is an individual. This was originally posted by an X Machine poster by the name of Amuse, A-M-U-S-E. And the description said, the lack of LGBTQ education in this country is concerning. It's 1 minute and 20 seconds. It's very educational, and it is illustrative of my confusion about how in the world gay people can claim to be in favor of Palestine or Islamic religious faith at all. While gay people fall over themselves to attack Christian beliefs, I don't see the Christian faith demanding that we change our laws making homosexuality illegal again, or that we change our laws forcing homosexuals back into the closet again. Quite to the contrary, our laws believe in equality under the law, not equity, but equality under the law with regard to how the government treats an individual, regardless of how they choose to live their lives. And as someone who was vilified, and trust me, I was for years, over my libertarian stance on this issue, my bona fides are well established that I don't care how you live your life so long as you're not violating my rights or the rights of other people. or the rights of individuals who cannot make appropriate decisions for themselves. And so we have to step in. And when organized groups of self-described gay individuals come together and want to infiltrate the classrooms of our fourth graders with nonsense, filth, or pornography, then we as a society have to step in and say, no, you're not going to do that. You're going to wait until these individuals are at an age where they can make certain decisions for themselves. We're not going to allow that to happen to our young people against the better judgment of their parents or society at large. That's what all of that's about. I'm not telling you how to live your life. I'm telling you to stop infiltrating young people's classrooms and other places of interest for those young people with your personal ideology or belief structure. That's what that's about. Now, that said, I am regularly fascinated recently with the amount of gay people in the United States of America that stand up and demand rights for the Palestinians. Palestinians given their druthers who would kill you. So this is a drag queen talking with a supporter of the Queers for Palestine movement. Let's listen in.
And so I did a study abroad in the Middle East with Israel and Palestine.
Would you say you're pro-Palestine or pro-Israel?
Pro-Palestine.
As a gay man, I would be punished and or put in prison or killed if I were openly gay in Palestine. How do you react to that?
I didn't know that. So
it is illegal to be gay in Palestine. You are punished by prison or death.
Israel?
No, Israel has gay pride. Israel is completely open to lesbian and gay people. So Palestine puts them in prison or kills them. You weren't aware of that?
I was not aware of that, no. So that does pose an interesting aspect.
Have you seen the Queers for Palestine movement? It's a very common movement, but I don't see any Muslims for queer movements.
Yes. That's where it gets gray, right? Like, that's where I feel like...
for me, it's not gray. I am fearful of Islam because there is no Islamic country on earth that embraces me as a gay man.
So, okay, so maybe I'm confused because Israel, which is still an Islam country, right?
No, Jewish.
Okay.
So Israel's Jewish, Palestinians are Islamic.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know that there's anything that I can say to follow up on that. The individual's name, by the way, and I had missed it at first, is fairly well known on social media circles, called Lady MAGA USA. Lady MAGA USA is a gay drag queen who believes in the movement to make America great again and recognizes that our nation, and there are several others around the world, is one of the most open and welcoming nations to people of all belief structures, regardless of your religious faith, regardless of your personal beliefs, and regardless of how you live your life, so long as you do not violate the rights of other people or those who cannot protect themselves. This person that Lady MAGA USA was talking to is a boob. A boob. A boob. Wait a minute. Israel is Islam, right? Have you no idea what you're talking about? No, you don't. You don't.
The epitome of low information.
I'm almost embarrassed. I would love it, and I'm not here for a fight. I'm here for a conversation. I would absolutely adore, I would relish the opportunity to talk to somebody that could explain to me how gay people can intelligently support Palestinians when the vast majority of those Palestinians believe in subjugating gay people to the point that they are either denied basic liberties and rights in their countries or they are put in prison or are subjected to death. Perhaps David in California will do just that. I'll give him the floor. David, good afternoon.
Matt, what's sad about this whole thing, destroying Gaza is all because of the oil underneath it and the fracking offshore of Gaza. And so the propagandists who have tried to split apart the world about whether or not a couple of million people can be blown to bits because there's oil underneath them. The oil.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, so the whole issue is the oil. And whether or not people like seeing, mothers and babies and fathers and husbands and grandfathers blown to bits, just because an oil company decides to cash in on the hundreds of billions of dollars worth of oil under there, that's the issue. And whether gays get involved in it or not is sort of beside the point.
No. That is my point, and considering that it's my show, I want to get back to it. Do you have any appreciation or rationale behind homosexuals in the United States of America claiming that they stand with the Palestinians and, by extension, Hamas, the individual, the ruling political party of that region of the world?
Well, that goes by the pretense, pretending that there aren't gays in Islam. Or there aren't gays.
No, there are gays in Islam. They are too frightened to publicly say it. Did you know, for example, I'll give you a quick example. Did you know? And I was today old when I found this out, David. This is fascinating to me. That a couple of years ago, that the Israeli government, because they understood the persecution by which gay people would go through in the Gaza Strip, in the West Bank, in the Palestinian region, that they began allowing temporary allowances to let gay Palestinians come into Israel to live and work in Israel. They gave them temporary visas to live and work, to leave the West Bank, because they knew that they would be either subjugated or killed if they stayed in Palestine. Did you know that?
I had never heard it, but it sounds like taxation without representation. And you remember that Israel. Okay.
Once again, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again because you didn't hear. In June of 2022, the nation of Israel began issuing work permits for gay Palestinian refugees who were granted asylum because they were fleeing the domestic violence that existed in Palestine and the potential persecution and death over being gay.
Sounds like I better check on Snopes to see if that's true.
Well, I would encourage you to do so. While you're doing that, we're going to do this. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Delaware, opening arguments began today in the federal trial of Hunter Biden, the president's son, facing 3 felony charges related to buying a firearm in 2018 about his alleged drug abuse. ABC's Terry Moran has more.
Biden's lawyers have argued that the form he had to fill out is confusing, and so their client did not knowingly lie. In a state as small as Delaware, it wasn't easy to find jurors who didn't have a strong opinion of the president and his family. One prospective juror telling the judge, you can't swing a cat without hearing something about the Bidens.
At a House hearing today, fiery exchanges between GOP lawmakers and Attorney General Merrick Garland over claims that the DOJ is weaponizing its cases.
I can tell you I had nothing to do with it.
The Attorney General forcefully pushed back against accusations leveled by the former president that the Biden administration had a hand in Donald Trump's trial in New York.
The Manhattan District Attorney makes its own decisions about cases.
Merrick Garland told a House hearing his department wouldn't be intimidated, despite what he called heinous threats directed at prosecutors and FBI agents.
We will not back down from defending democracy.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
A new poll showing many Americans are still reluctant to shift to EV.
46% of Americans say they are not too likely or not likely at all to buy an electric vehicle, according to a new Associated Press poll, and only 9% of Americans say they currently own one, despite the Biden administration mandating that 56% of new vehicle sales be electric by 2032. Rivian CEO R.J. Scaringe told ABC News recently the options for affordable electric cars just aren't good enough.
We have very few choices.
Alex Stone, ABC News.
Toyota recalling more than 100,000 of its 2022 to 23 Tundras and Lexus models. The automaker says debris from the manufacturing process could have contaminated the engine. You're listening to ABC News.
Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy for Heartland Journal. I've told you a lot about Heartland Journal and Steve Abramowitz and what I believe they bring to the table from a conservative advocacy standpoint. I absolutely love these guys, and I think there's room for everybody. I appreciate you listening to us. I appreciate you listening to what we bring to the table every day, and I invite you to listen to Steve Abramowitz and what he brings to the table. On a monthly basis, you'll hear the Murphy's Law segment on Heartland Journal. You can also find cultural touchstones, authors, entertainment figures, sports figures, and yes, a heck of a lot of conversation about local, state, national, and international politics. Frequently, the #1 show in politics on Podomatic. Find them on Deezer, iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast apps. You can also find them on Rumble Video. It's the Heartland Journal with Steve Abramowitz. Go to heartlandjournal.com. That's heartlandjournal.com. All right, so we're anticipating an address by the President of the United States. Bell, I alert you to the fact that we're going to want to jip this. That would be join in progress at a moment's notice when the President takes to the microphone. I don't know that this will be much fun for the listening audience, but it is necessary. The Biden administration, we've been talking about the Gays for Palestine movement, which is very confusing to me, and I'll get to more of those calls coming up in just a moment, where gay people, LGBTQ people around the United States of America suggest that they are supportive of the Palestinian movement. By extension, you're supportive of Hamas. 80% of the Palestinian people in a poll a year and a half ago support and agree with Hamas. And many of them support and agree with the actions of October 7th, which was nothing more or less than an attempt at genocide. They killed a portion of the population that far exceeds what died on 9/11 per capita in that country. Yet we seem to have forgotten that. We seem to have forgotten that Hamas, to this moment, has hostages. They just found 4 dead hostages the other day. Hostages that had been taken from their homes, brutally tortured, beaten. Some hostages were subjected to sexual assaults, and then they died or were left for dead or were killed. Hostages that still remain in custody. Hostages that are not talked about. Bring back these hostages. Yeah, we don't talk about that. All we talk about is ceasefire and supporting the Palestinian cause and the genocide created by the Israelis. That's the mantra. And I just can't get over this idea that homosexuals in the United States of America, and look, I'm not here to cast aspersions. I just don't understand it. That they would support an organization and a group of people that subject them on a day-to-day basis, that offer them no equality, no rights whatsoever, and that can be freely beat. Did you know that in the Gaza Strip, that if you are found to be a homosexual, you can be beaten and there's nothing you can do about it? And you can be jailed, you can be killed, nothing you can do about it. It is a fact. There are no rights for you in Palestine. There are no rights for you in the Gaza Strip. Why would you support that? Even if you disagree with the policies of Israel, why would you support that? So we're discussing that as we continue to await the Joe Biden announcement. He's late as usual on his executive action on the issue of immigration. Joe Biden, late to the party, performative as usual, has decided that he will do something about illegal immigration. Remember, this is the same Joe Biden that loudly declared that he would roll back all of Donald Trump's efforts to stop illegal immigration on the southern border. He loudly and proudly signed multiple executive orders on day one, rolling back all of the efforts to build the wall high and tall and to prevent illegal aliens from coming across the southern border and into the United States of America illegally. You have to do that in order to correct the issues involving the immigration system. So we're going to discuss that in just a moment after Joe Biden talks about it, and we'll go to Joe Biden as soon as he steps to the podium. In the meantime, John is in Nashville, and you're telling me that John's a gay man and wants to talk about I look forward to this conversation. John, thank you for the conversation. Thank you for calling in. How are you, sir?
How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing well.
The communist takeover of this country right now is leading the LGBTQ, LMNOP, whatever they want to call that cult now. They've turned it into a cult like Antifa and BLM. It's beyond embarrassing. It's detriment for brainwashing because Islam will kill us. It's Stockholm Syndrome. It's as crazy as Democrats not realizing as a whole that America is being destroyed. And in the gay community, the cult gay community that has been reduced to, are supporting people that if found in an alley would kill them. And the media has them believing something completely else. That's the problem, is somewhere they're being brainwashed into this nightmare of thinking. And I'm going to say two more things and then let you respond because I know that the clown president is going to be on soon. Do you know why Donald Trump plays the song by the Rolling Stones, "You Can't Always Get What You Want," at his rallies?
Why do you think? I don't know.
It's JFK. It's JFK Jr.'s favorite song. They were friends. And I'll leave you with one last thing for you to look up and for the listeners to look up. On JFK, the president, he had a boat. There was a bell on that boat, and it ding, ding, ding. There was a dinner bell. And it has, and I'll leave you with this, where we go one, we go all. Thank you, Matt.
Wait, real quick before you go, John. Are you going? John, are you still there?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you believe that the LGBTQ community or the gay community or however, do you believe that the mainstream media kind of mischaracterizes where they are with regard to this election cycle and where they are based on their politics? Because I know enough, I have enough gay friends that, and maybe it's just the circles that I run in, none of them are Biden supporters.
They are going to be sorely disappointed on November the 5th. We are actually the left's worst nightmare. We're Trump supporters, a lot of us.
Love it. Thank you, John. Thank you for offering a difference of opinion there. It is not a monolithic block vote like the Democrats would have you believe. I don't think the African-American community is that way anymore. I don't think the Hispanic community is that way anymore. Obviously, a majority of those blocks of voters, as Democrats want to keep them, I have for a while now referred to what the Democrats do to the African-American vote in this country as the Democrat political plantation for good reason. They want to keep your mind right. A hive mind is necessary to keep 90% of the African Americans voting in a similar fashion. And sadly, every 4 years or however often they go to the polls, they vote for Democrats who promise that they're going to give them that thing or give them this thing or promise them this, that, and the other. Oftentimes cloaked in language like we're going to give you opportunity, we're going to give you education, we're going to give you equity. Equity. They give you nothing. Nothing. A handout here or there does not measure up to a life surrounded by crime and desperation and poverty. That's what you see in major American cities around the country, and it's not by happenstance that the vast majority of these major metropolitan areas are run by Democrats. 615-737-9986. Jimmy is in Shelbyville. Jimmy's been holding for a long time. Jimmy, God bless you. I appreciate your patience. How are you?
I'm fine today for an old man.
Well, Mr. Jimmy, hey, Mr. Jimmy, you know what my grandpa used to say about getting old?
What's that?
He used to say, getting old's hell, but it beats Plan B.
That's true, I guess. I'm 84, and I got 11 kids. 6 by the first wife, and 5 by the second wife. And out of the 11 kids, 9 of them are boys, and I got more hair than they got. Matter of fact, I hadn't had a haircut in about 4 years. I've got a foot-long ponytail right now. I've got more hair than all 9 of them boys put together.
You haven't had a haircut in 4 years, Mr. Jimmy?
That's right.
How you like it? It doesn't get in your mouth when you sleep, does it?
Well, sometimes.
Yeah.
About once a year, I cut that ponytail off. I've cut it off 3 times, I think. I've had three ponytails. I just put a rubber band around it. When I go to cut it off, I cut it off back past the rubber band. Then I got a whole lot of hair wrapped in a rubber band on the end. I haven't shaved either.
Well, you've inspired me.
I'm trying to live on $2,000 on Social Security. Less than $2,000. So I don't shave. I don't get haircuts.
I'd love to see a picture one of these days, Mr. Jimmy. I bet you look good.
For an old fella, maybe. I'm no hippie, though. In 1969, I went to Woodstock with a buddy of mine. He had one of those Volkswagen vans.
A VW microbus Type 2 transport. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Well, you need to one of these days. I need to get you in the studio so you can tell me some stories of how it was back in the day. I want to hear some Woodstock stories one of these days, Mr. Jimmy.
Well, I used to ride motorcycles too because I'm from Memphis. I used to ride motorcycles with Presley.
Did you ever join a motorcycle club, Mr. Jimmy?
No.
Okay. I didn't know if you were part of the Outlaws or the Hells Angels or El Diablos or anything like that.
No. I saw Presley about 2 months before he died. He was in Memphis because of making plans for a concert there in Memphis. This was, I think, in June in 1975 or 76, 77, 78, something like that. He used to play touch football. We went to he was drafted and I joined the service when I got out of high school. He was 4 or 5 years older than me. There was a park behind my mama's house, Williamson Park in Memphis. She lived on Willette Street, but there was a park there. He used to play touch football there before he went in the Army and learned a little karate.
Wow.
Yeah,
I bet, man.
I got a picture of him.
Let me.
I got a picture.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I got a picture of him carrying a football there at Williamson Park, playing touch football.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
He was a real chicken.
A chicken?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, he wouldn't stand up for himself.
Oh, okay.
He didn't have any guts.
I got you.
Until he went in the service. He was drafted, and I joined right after high school. I graduated in 1957. We went to boot camp together at Fort Chaffee, Arkansas. That's Fort Smith.
You think you could still ride a trike if I got you on, Mr. Jimmy? One of those three-wheelers?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking about getting me another Sportster. I don't know.
Well, I mean, let's get you on three wheels. But I'd ride with you in a heartbeat if we could. I only ask you this question. I've only got about a minute or so left. But Mr. Jimmy, every time you call, it's a fascinating look into your life and your world over 89 years. But several listeners are asking me to inquire a little bit further about this. Did you say 11 kids?
Yeah, 11. I got 11 kids and 32 grands and 10 greats.
Are those all from the same Mrs. Jimmy or?
Well, 2 wives.
Okay. All right. Well, let me tell you, you were taking care of business back in the day, Mr. Jimmy.
Yep.
Well,
that's probably why I got all my hair. I got a foot-long ponytail right now.
I look forward to the day that I can shake your hand, sir. I really do. We're going to make that happen one of these days, okay?
Well, I thought we were going to go to the moon pie in the RC thing. We're bell buckled together.
Well, let's go. I mean, I'll make it a date. Let me. It's in June,
That's
isn't it?
in September.
Oh, September. Okay. Well, we're gonna make it a date, Mr. Jimmy, if we don't do it before. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You take care.
All right.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
all right. Yes, sir. We'll see you. Man, oh, man, I love hearing from him. 89 years old. Born in 1935, I believe that's about right. That reminds me of my grandpa a little bit. My grandfather was born in 1929, would have been 95 years old this past May 8th. It's 1:20 on Super Talk 99. 11 kids with 2 wives and still has all of his hair. Played football with Elvis in Memphis and rode to Woodstock in a VW microbus Type 2 transport. That's living, baby. We'll be back in a minute. I want to tell you the level of personal service that we're talking about with Dr. Paz Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Dr. Paz reached out to me today, and it is not because I am a spokesperson for the Dr. Paz Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center, 2 locations to serve you in Brentwood and Murfreesboro. They take all major medical insurance. Therefore, you don't have to pay out the total cost for your mouthpiece for your sleep apnea. More on that in a second. No, Dr. Paz reached out to me because I am a client of Dr. Paz's. I am a sleep apnea sufferer. I wear the mouthpiece on a nightly basis. He wanted to make sure everything was fitted properly, everything was going well. My sleep was improved. My energy levels improved when I wake up in the morning, and I am proud to say yes, 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 and yes. The Dr. Paz and Sleep Apnea Center, I want you to give them a call, or better yet, go over to online at drpaz.com. That's drposs.com. drpaz.com to find out more about the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. All right, we're cutting the advertisement time out a little bit short because Joe Biden is taken to the podium. He's already lied about the issue of illegal immigration once, and he's only been speaking for about a minute. Let's listen to Joe Biden in the White House.
So today, I'm moving past Republican obstruction and using the executive authorities available to me as president to do what I can on my own to address the border. Frankly, I would have preferred to address this issue through a bipartisan legislation, because that's the only way to actually get the kind of system we have now that's broken, fixed, to hire more Border Patrol agents, more asylum officers, more judges. But Republicans have left me no choice. Today, I'm announcing actions to bar migrants who cross our southern border unlawfully from receiving asylum.
It's already illegal.
Migrants will be restricted from receiving asylum at our southern border unless they seek it after entering through an established lawful process. And those who seek to come to the United States legally, for example, by making an appointment and coming to a port of entry, asylum will still be available to them, still available. But if an individual chooses not to use our legal pathways, if they choose to come without permission and against the law, they'll be restricted from receiving asylum and staying in the United States.
Literally, that is what the law is.
Gain control of our border, restore order into the process. This ban will remain in place until the number of people trying to enter illegally is reduced to a level that our system can effectively manage. We'll carry out this order consistent with all our responsibilities under international law, every one of them. In addition to this action, we recently made important reforms in our asylum system, more efficient and more secure reforms. The goal is to deliver decisions on asylum as quickly as possible. The quicker decision means that a migrant is less likely to pay a criminal smuggler thousands of dollars to take him on a dangerous journey, knowing that If in fact they move in the wrong direction, they returned around quickly. And 2 weeks ago, the Department of Justice started a new docket in the immigration courts to address cases where people who've recently crossed the border they make a decision within 6 months rather than 6 years, because that's what happens now. Additionally, the Department of Homeland Security has proposed new rules to allow federal law enforcement to more quickly remove
Mumbles is in fine form today. Anybody else notice?
And remove them from the United States. My administration has also recently launched new efforts to go after criminal networks that profit from smuggling migrants to our border and incentivize people to give tips to law enforcement, provide information that brings smugglers to justice. We're also sending additional federal prosecutors to hotspots along the border and prosecute individuals who break our immigration laws.
You just made me yawn. I literally just did. Does everybody see that? I just yawned. I'm sorry.
Made a huge difference. We continue to work closely with our Mexican neighbors instead of attacking Mexico. And it's worked. We've built a strong partnership of trust between the Mexican President Lopez Obrador, and I'm going to do the same with the Mexican-elect president who I spoke with yesterday. We've chosen to work together with Mexico as an equal partner, and the facts are clear. Due to the arrangements that I've reached with President Obrador, the number of migrants coming and to our shared border unlawfully in recent months has dropped dramatically. But while these steps are important, they're not enough. To truly secure the border, we have to change our laws, and Congress needs to provide the necessary funding to hire 1,500 more border security agents, 100 more immigration judges to help tackle the backlog of cases, more than 2 million of them, 4,300 more asylum officers to make decisions in less than 6 months instead of 6 years, which is what it takes now, and around 100 more high-tech detection machines to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop fentanyl being smuggled into the United States. These investments were one of the primary reasons that the Border Patrol Union endorsed the bipartisan deal in the first place. And these investments are essential, remain essential. As far as I'm concerned, if you're not willing to spend the money to hire more Border Patrol agents, more asylum officers, more judges, more high-tech machinery, you're just not serious about protecting our border. It's as simple as that. I believe that immigration has always been the lifeblood of America. We're constantly renewed by an infusion of people and new talent. The Statue of Liberty is not some relic of American history. It stands for who we are as the United States. So I will never demonize immigrants. I'll never refer to immigrants as poisoning the blood of a country. And further, I'll never separate children from their families at the border. I will not ban people from this country because of their religious beliefs. I will not use the U.S. military to go into neighborhoods all across the country to pull millions of people out of their homes and away from their families, to put detention camps while awaiting deportation, as my predecessor says he will do if he occupies his office again. On my very first day as president, I introduced a comprehensive immigration reform plan to fix.
You rolled back border security policy initiated by Donald J. Trump, you jerk.
And a lot more.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
I'm still fighting to get that done.
President jerk.
We must face the simple truth. To protect America as a land that welcomes immigrants, we must first secure the border and secure it now.
Oh, my gosh.
The simple truth is there is a worldwide migrant crisis. And if the United States doesn't secure our border, there's no limit to the number of people who may try to come here, because there's no better place on the planet than the United States of America. For those that say the steps I've taken are too strict, I say to you that be patient. And goodwill of American people are
be patient. All of this will end on November 5th if he's still president.
Not an option.
All of it.
We have to act. We must act consistent with both our law and our values as Americans. I'll take these steps today.
Take a few questions,
not to walk away from who we are as Americans, but to make sure we preserve who we are for future generations to come. Today, I've spoken about what we need to do to secure the border. In the weeks ahead, and I mean the weeks ahead, I'll speak to how we can make our immigration system more fair and more just. Let's fix the problem.
How dumb do you think we are?
I'm doing my part. We're doing our part. Congressional Republicans should do their part. Thank you very much.
Hey, take a few questions, bruh. He's standing there. He's standing there. He's standing there. He's wandering. He looked. Oh, my gosh. Are you looking at this?
Playing politics with the war. What was that? I asked her, is Prime Minister Netanyahu playing politics with the war?
Why are you asking?
I don't think so. He's trying to work out a serious problem he has. Thank you.
That's just weird. All right, turn it down. That's all very weird. That's all very odd. The end of that was creepy as hell. He just stood there blankly staring as people begged of him, reporters in the assembled room begged of him to answer a few questions, and the one he chose to answer was some garbage. I mean, not garbage. I don't mean to cast aspersions on that issue. Someone asked a question about Netanyahu and is he playing politics with the war? And I don't think so. Sadly, there was only like one question that he would have answered regarding immigration anyway, and that was the one he answered, and it wasn't anything about immigration. Look, I should not expect anything other than what just happened. The Democrats have decided that their angle on their absolute failure on the southern border, where we have illegal aliens coming in by the hundreds of thousands, by the millions. Folks, this is not an issue that was not being tackled by the last administration. The last administration, everything they did, it was met with resistance by the Democrats. Does anyone remember this? How can anyone defend this? The same guy that gleefully signed executive orders the day that he became president of the United States, rolling back all of the policies of Donald J. Trump, rolling back the ability to withhold some of these asylum seekers, rolling back the ability that these individual illegal aliens and the coyotes themselves utilized in order to get into this country. I mean, I know. We're playing catch up, and I want you to comment on it. I have a lot to say about it. It is amazing to me how much liberals are willing to treat you like Boo Boo the Fool. They think we are Boo Boo the Clown. They trash this country, and then they blame others and claim that they're going to fix it, and they're in no way going to fix it. And he gave a wink and a nod to his diehard supporters saying, hey, don't worry, I have to do this to get reelected because of these dunderheads that actually believe in American sovereignty. But don't you worry, after November 5th, I'll take care of it. All right, we got a long break to take because we had to suspend the other break to listen to that jerk. And I'm sorry, I don't know how else to do it but just to call it like I see it. I know some of you get upset when I call President Jerk. That's exactly what he is. It's 1:33 on Super Talk. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. We just completed the 4th annual open house at the Glock Store, and what a great event. So many of you came out and said hello. You saw the many vendors. You saw the incredible deals. You took advantage of the savings, and the savings continue. Whether you go online at glockstore.com, whether you're training at shoot270.com, or you stop by the store, I encourage you to do so. If you missed us at the open house, never you fear, because there are many, many savings right now at the Glock Store. We're talking about customization of your Glock. We're talking about buying a handgun or a long gun. We're talking about guide rods. We're talking about pyramid triggers. We're talking about Glock magazines. We're talking about daily deals right there available on the Glock Store. Anything and everything that you can imagine that has anything to do with the Second Amendment, they do at the Glock Store. It's one thing to own. It's another thing to train. It's very important. That's why they have shooting rooms to help you train at the Glock Store. Shoot270.com for more on the training aspects of what you can accomplish and how you can up your level of expertise at the Glock Store, no matter where it might be. If you've never held a gun or if you've had one in your hand since early life, it's time to get better trained at shoot270.com or go to glockstore.com for more info. Tell them that Matt Murphy sent you to Airlane Drive just off of Elm Hill Pike at the Glock Store. All right, so the big announcement just happened. You guys excited? We're going to have some immigration reform. You know, Joe Biden announces an executive action on immigration that will apparently do the law. Huh. Imagine that. I did not hear anything. I'll need to read the details. I heard nothing that isn't already a part of the law. Now, some would suggest after breaking records at the border month after month after month after month, it is consistently the weakest issue when polling comes out. For what it's worth, polling is a snapshot in time. Anybody that says, well, if the election were held today, I say, well, the election isn't held today. The election is held November 5th. So what happens today is not going to matter as much as tomorrow, as the next day, But it all culminates on November 5th, and it all matters from an ideological and political perspective. That said, consistently, Americans see through the lies and the subterfuge of the Biden administration when it comes to the southern border. We see people on a daily basis dying at the hands of illegal aliens. We see our nation's cities becoming worse and worse and worse as a result of the strain of illegal alien activity. We simply do not have the resources to be the cradle for the world's illegal aliens. And it is not a worldwide phenomenon, and it is not a worldwide issue. It is an American issue because Joe Biden proclaimed that the southern border was open before he even became president of the United States of America. Look, I can make this real easy. Hold on, let me go over here and see if I can do this while I speak to you. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. If you'd like to be a part of the show, you're invited. Let me just see. All I got to do is go over here to videos and Joe Biden declares. Well, let's see if this is what I'm looking for here.
Administration deported more than 3 million Americans. My question to you is, if an individual is living in the United States of America without documents and that is his only offense, should that person be deported?
No. Depending if they committed a major crime, they should be deported. And the president was left in his. President Obama, I think, did a heck of a job. To compare him to what this guy's doing is absolutely, I find, close to immoral.
This was during the 2019 Democrat debate.
We should not be locking people up. We should be making sure we change the circumstance, as we did, why they would leave in the first place. And those who come seeking asylum, we should immediately have the capacity to absorb them, keep them safe until they can be heard.
Absorb them, keep them safe until those seeking asylum. That's what he's been doing. He has ultimately fulfilled a campaign promise that he made in 2019. And oh, by the way, looking at a video of Joe Biden from 2019 and looking at Joe Biden today, my goodness gracious. The 5 years. He wasn't exactly altogether with it then, and he sure as hell isn't altogether with it now. If we had a modicum of accountability in our mainstream media, in our hashtag Never CNNs or in our ABCs or NBCs or CBSs, they would be asking the questions that you and I will be asking over these next few months. Where have you been? What has changed? Why now? The ACLU is already saying that they're going to sue the Biden administration over the new asylum restrictions. Are you kidding me? Well, I hope you do. I hope you force the Biden administration to defend common sense immigration reform and common sense border security, which are two different things. He has now literally, and I've not read his executive action. 5263 says he's literally used the same executive action Trump used. I think it was 2018. He used it to ban people coming from Islamic countries, as I recall. I've not read the executive action in its totality. I'm going to wait until I do that. But here's what I heard. I heard that Joe Biden wants to follow the law as it pertains to asylum seekers, that asylum seekers have to follow a particular process. Up until now, they haven't been following the law. They just let anybody and everybody that comes in, wants to come in, come in. And if the numbers are still what they were an hour and a half ago, the numbers suggest that they will still allow up to 2,500 daily individuals into this country, regardless of their countries of origin. As long as they claim asylum, that they're seeking said asylum, they're going to allow them in here anyway. 2,500, let's just do the math. 2,500 times 365 equals 912,500 individuals, almost 1 million people annually that they are legalizing coming into the United States of America, when instead we should be suspending all asylum claims into this country until such time as we get a handle on border security and ensure that those claiming asylum actually have legitimate asylum claims, as opposed to these nonsensical claims that have been utilized over the last 3.5 years in order to gain access to America and America's resources. That's what they tell me, Bill. That's what they tell me. So Brian writes in, and it's a good point, I'll be voting for the felon November 5th. Me too. I'll be voting for convicted felon and future President Donald J. Trump. How about you? Which is how I will be referring to Donald Trump from now moving forward, because there is no sting in those words to me. There's actually a little bit of pride. The idea that they would go after Donald Trump on the charges that they did, and they would actually secure a victory in the manner that they did, you should wear that as a badge of honor, sir. Convicted felon, comma, and future president, comma, Donald J. Trump. In the meantime, this is the Biden administration ultimately declaring that their policies were a failure. And if we had an honest media, if you had an honest reporting of the facts, the reporting would follow the chain of events that led to where we are today. You can start wherever you want. You can go back to Simpson Mazzoli in, what was it, 1986. I think it was 1986. Hey, fact check me, 84 or 86, Simpson Mazzoli Act, which was an act ultimately signed by the President of the United States at the time, Ronald Wilson Reagan. And Ronald Reagan he acquiesced to, he compromised with political liberals at the time. The Democrats were in charge of the House of Representatives at the time. Tip O'Neill was Speaker of the House, if my memory serves me correctly. And you can fact check me in real time on the membersnutrition.com super text line. But let's walk through this. During the Simpson-Mazzoli Act, we understood that we needed to get a handle on our southern border. We needed to make sure that the people coming into this country for work were doing so legally. And we needed to make sure that we had a tracking system based on employment opportunity that existed primarily in the American Southwest, but also in the Southeast to a certain degree. And so, out of the Simpson-Mazzoli Act came the I-9 form that we all have to fill out when we take on a job. It's a federal form ensuring that we present our driver's license or our photo identification, that we present our social security card or our worker documents. Was it 86?
86.
86, thank you. I-9 forms came out of the Simpson-Mazzoli Act. You know what also came out of that? Amnesty. In addition to requiring that future employers have to take your social security card or your worker identification or your photo ID or all three, at least two of those three, and there are some others that they could accept, a passport or a green card, that employers would be required to submit to this federal oversight as a result of the illegal aliens that had been flooding the zone in the late 1970s and early 1980s. Started with migrant workers and just got worse. Reagan was willing to accept that we had not done our due diligence and our job on the southern border, and we had allowed about 3.5 to 4 million people to create roots in the United States of America, and those roots merited treating them a little bit differently than those that were trying to get in at the time. And so Reagan compromised. And he made this agreement with Democrats. You give me the I-9 form, the worker verification form, and I will allow 3.5 million illegal aliens to be amnestized. We will forgive their illegal acts. But for that, I get border security. You will fully fund the southern border now and for all time to make sure that we stop the flood of illegal alien activity that's coming across the southern border. This was in 1986. And the Democrats were lying then, and they're lying now. They looked at human beings as votes then, and they look at human beings as votes now. They look at human beings as slave wage labor and votes. Democrats really haven't changed since the 1860s. It's just a political plantation they put you on now, not an actual plantation. And so we waited for that border security funding, and it never came. The Democrats lied to Ronald Reagan. They lied to the Republicans. They lied to the American people, and they're lying now. They have no intention of stopping the flood because they don't care about it. They live in their gated communities. They live in homes where there are walls between themselves and the undesirables. I don't believe they care a bit. They don't care about the strain on our economy. They don't care about the strain on our communities. They don't care about the scourge of crime. They don't care about the terrorists that come across the southern border. They don't care about Chinese fentanyl. They don't care about gang-related violence. They don't care about MS-13. They don't care about Lake and Riley. They don't care. They don't care that Eric Adams knows that his city is out of control in New York City. They don't care about Baltimore. They don't care about Nashville. They don't care. And if you believe they care, tell me how. I'm willing to listen to you. They care about votes. They care about congressional reapportionment. They care about absorbing these individuals into the fabric of this country and getting them enough identification by which they can permanently claim residency and ultimately secure some sort of pseudo-citizenship that would allow them the opportunity to vote. Because they believe that 7.5 out of every 10 of them will vote for them. It will create a permanent voting bloc that they've enjoyed in so many different sectors of American society. And they regularly subjugate those voting blocs to make sure that they don't get out of line. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Sound familiar? And when the chips are down and they recognize that the voters are wise to their shenanigans that have been going on for the better part of 40 years, they pull this garbage, a dog and pony show designed to confuse you. And they expect that their leftist supporters will swallow hard and accept it until November 5th when they'll change it all back. It's 1:53. You're listening to Reality Radio on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it is Matt Murphy, and this Matt Murphy show, I am a big-time not only supporter of, I'm a client of, I'm a patient of Dr. Gill and the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. Dr. Gill and his team, Dr. Wendy, Dr. Dominic, Dr. V, and the rest of the crew, they have decades, collectively probably 100 years or so of experience in this industry. They are chiropractic specialists. It's what they do. They're going to alleviate your pain, but chiropractic pain comes from a lot of different places other than the back nowadays. I mean, they've expanded what they can help with to include joint pain of all sorts, knee pain, neck pain, hip pain, elbow pain, can all be treated with no needles and no downtime, and with no consideration for surgery. And that's what it's all about. Friends, let's get with the program. Let's get with the best. They've been here well over 30 years, and they are here for you. It is time to make the call to the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief that so many others have made, including yours truly. I am a patient of Dr. Gill's. Don't take a pill. Call Dr. Gill and the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. That number, 615-882-4838, 882-4838. It's the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy. You know, it's important to protect yourself in a dangerously developing world. And Defense Systems can help you do just that, particularly if you're a decision maker at a school, at a church, or at a place of business. Listen up. Defense Systems is a life safety and security consultation firm. They're based right here in Middle Tennessee. Brink Fiddler has made multiple appearances on our radio show and all over the state of Tennessee, all over the Southeast, really all over the country. He regularly makes appearances before school groups, church organizations, and businesses, helping them understand active shooter response, workplace violence, site surveys, security improvement, emergency and intruder action plans, rapid response medical training, and he will customize any and all of it to your facility. It's what he does on a day-to-day basis. He makes you smarter with regard to a dangerously developing world. Look, he's not here to scare you. I'm not here to scare you either. The possibility of you experiencing workplace violence or an active shooter in your lifetime is minuscule. It's impossibly low, but it's not zero. That means hope is not a plan. It is time to get trained to arm yourself with information. Reach out today at 615-236-6484, 236-6484, or defensesystems.com. That's defensesystems.com. It is the Matt Murphy Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and we just got done listening live to the President of the United States of America. Did I mispronounce that? No, actually I did not. Listen, the Biden administration is attempting to take some steam out of what they obviously know is a failing issue for them. Obviously, the American people are smarter than those who watch #NeverCNN or MSNBC, in as much as they well know who is responsible for the unsecured, open nature of the southern border of the United States of America. Even if you despise Donald Trump, if you are a thinking person, you understand that he was doing more about border security. You can speculate all you want as to his justification. You can speculate all you want about his rationale or reasoning. But do we not need a secure border? Who calls for an open one? I mean, but what was that knucklehead with the flappy arms down in Texas? Beto O'Rourke. Beto called for open border. He said, not only are we going to tear down the wall that he's built, we're going to tear down all of the walls. That's what Beto says. Well, look at what that gets us. You know, the reality is that they don't become us. And by that, I mean their condition, not them as human beings, not them as individuals. They bring their condition to us. They lower our standard of living when too many come too quickly and expect too much. And that's just the good ones. Those are just the individuals that are coming for a better life for themselves or for their families. That is not to say, or not even to speak of, those that are doing it for nefarious purposes, those that are muling drugs or human beings, those that are trafficking in fentanyl or children, those that want to lie in wait to do damage to the United States of America through some sort of sleeper cell activity. I mean, consider all of the bad, and with all of the bad, that's reason enough to get something done. Either way, the Biden administration announces performative executive action in an effort to try to take this issue off the table in advance of a June that includes a debate with convicted felon and future president Donald J. Trump. What say you? 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN, either via the phone lines or on the super text line. Your snap reaction to the, quote, executive orders, a lot of which rolls back to the Trump administration policy, what we do and we do not do. Now, initially we heard that they would make allowances for up to 2,500 asylum seekers at proper ports of entry. That's 9 112,500 individuals annually that are coming into this country, most of whom do not deserve unlawful entry into the United States of America. Matt Murphy's plan is simple. We are going to suspend, if Matt Murphy were king of the world, in Murphy world, it's Murphy world now. In Murphy world, we suspend all claims of asylum for 1 year. Now, for those of you going, ooh, Matt, that's dramatic. We can't. Why not? What? I would declare a national emergency. If I were president of the United States, I would immediately declare a national emergency. That the crisis that has existed over the last 3.5 years under the Biden administration has created a dynamic by which we are in real and present danger. That you could include gang warfare and drug warfare and human smuggling and the amount of overdoses happening at the hands of those smugglers who bring in additional amounts of fentanyl into this country. All of that adds up to a national emergency at our southern border, and by which I am calling up the National Guard to assist the Border Patrol agents who are down there doing God's work and stymied at every step along the way by the Biden administration. We're going to give them the National Guard assistance that they need. By God, we'll call the military if necessary. We have declared a national emergency on this true epidemic that we will call illegal immigration. And as such, we are declaring a 12-month moratorium on all immigration into the United States of America. If you want to carve out a few exceptions that are for the benefit of the United States with regard to engineering or medical or scientific, some of the STEM trades, I'm fine with that. I'm willing to consider that. But from a blanket standpoint, we are not accepting any claims of amnesty for the next 12 months. Until we get a handle on the situation going on at the southern border, our national security necessitates that we eliminate the good grace that we have always extended to our neighbors that want legitimate asylum. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for those who need legitimate asylum that you will not be receiving it over the next 12 months. But sadly, others who do not have legitimate claims, who simply want to enter the country illegally, who want to jump the line, who want to get in front of those that are trying to do it in a legal fashion, those individuals have made it impossible for us to discern who's legitimate and who's not. And we're going to get a better handle on this thing. We are going to shut down the southern border, were I president of the United States, I would say. And we're going to do so in a fashion that seals it tight. There are no exceptions over the next 12 months during our national state of emergency. And during that time, we're going to get serious-minded people together to reimagine and rethink our immigration policies in the modern world. This is not 1840 or 1850 or 1880 anymore. This is not 1910 anymore. We cannot take any more poor and huddled masses. We have our fill. And there is nothing in the world, there is nothing on paper, there is nothing anywhere that suggests that we are demanded by the rest of the world to accept those least of the countries that they're coming from. Now, as a human being, as a humanitarian, I have sensitivity to those people. My God in heaven, we were blessed to be born in the greatest nation on God's green earth, but we are great for a reason. And if we do not manage that, if we do not coddle it, if we do not ensure its safety and security, we will lose it, and the world loses as a result. Other nations should be striving to emulate us, not to push their people to us. And if they do and we allow it to happen, we become them. They don't become us, we become them. So that's what I would do. What do you say about it? I believe it's Ali in Brentwood. Hello, Ali. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Murphy. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Of course.
And I would love to live in your world.
Well, thank you, Ali.
Because it's perfect. I would even make it even better. I would put all my friends right at the border. Anybody wants to come over, shoot to kill. Don't come here. I've been in this country for 40 years. And when I came here, I had to prove that I have funds, that I have background check, that I'm not here taking advantage of the society. Now the border is wide open. I hear people coming here from Iran that they are fanatic Muslims. I don't got nothing against Muslims. I used to be one. Our fault is, as a Christian country, we are acting like Christians. And everybody wants to be politically correct. Everybody's feeling gets hurt if you say something wrong. Get over it. We have to hold our representatives, the House, the Senate, responsible. It's not just the president. We are voting, since I've been here, on every election, we say it should be a term limit. For how many years have they talked about term limits? What has happened? Nothing.
Well, yeah, the politicians themselves have no interest in term limiting themselves, especially when being in politics has become, sadly, a career.
Absolutely, but
it's a career.
But we do, sir. We do. We go to the voting. We vote for them. Anybody that has been 2-term limits, do not vote for them. I love Marsha Blackburn. I know her. I have donated to her campaign previously, but I'm not doing it anymore. Not that she's bad, but we need new blood. Our whole entire government is corrupt. In the Senate, there is only 2 good persons in there. Only 2. The rest of them need to go. They all talk. Every single one of them. Look, they did the coronavirus. Oh, you can't get out. Don't get out. Fauci comes in today and make a mockery out of us. What happened? Nothing.
Ali, I hear you. I hear your frustration, brother. I hear you. And I know that it's shared by many of our listeners. I'm going to get to some more of them. I appreciate your call this afternoon, and I thank you for listening to the show, and bless you for what you said. I mean, I understand the frustration. You feel like even the good guys aren't getting anything done in Washington, D.C. anymore, and I share it. I mean, what's amusing to me is what seems to be common sense to me is somehow this ridiculous idea nowadays. I mean, how do you think those, I almost said SOBs. I shouldn't say that. You-know-whats. Let's call them you-know-whats. Not SOBs. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Bell. How do you think they would react if I was on a panel on CNN and I said that we should have a 12-month moratorium on all entry into the United States of America? They would freak out, man. Where does it say that we have to? I mean, they point to the Statue of Liberty. That's not a law. That's not even something that existed until the early 20th century. I forget when they put the poem on the base of the statue, but it wasn't even when the statue was put there. There's nothing that says that under our current situation and circumstances and considering the strain on the American economy and the strain on the American people that we don't do that. Why is no one suggesting that? Why have we heard from any lawmaker, correct me if I'm wrong, has one lawmaker come out and said that we need to put a moratorium on all things immigration until such time as we get the southern border under control and declare a state of national emergency to do it?
1903.
1903. Thank you, sir. Do you have the poem up there while you're?
Yes.
Give me the first part of this poem. Let's take it piece by piece.
Give me your tired,
yeah, we don't have to, we've got enough tired. Go ahead.
You're poor.
We got enough poor people.
Your huddled masses.
We got enough huddled masses.
Yearning to breathe free.
Yeah. We got enough freedom breathing going on.
The wretched refuse of your teeming shores.
I mean, we got wretched refuse in abundance. Has anybody been to Lower Broad lately?
Send these the homeless.
Yeah, we got some of those.
Tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.
Oh, that's nice.
The Statue of Liberty.
Oh, see there? See what you did there? It's not the Statue of Open Borders. It's not the Statue of Open Borders. It's the Statue of Liberty. Make your own country better. We're full. It's 2:19 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, friends, Matt Murphy, and let's talk about your health for a moment. Let's talk about preventative. I always like to use that word because for some it's not a preferred word, but for me it is. Preventative maintenance on your body, on yourself. Let's prevent some of the ailments that come about with middle age or when you get to a certain age. I mean, things that are obviously treatable and if they are diagnosed early enough. Kraft Body Scan has an incredible special going on right now. With the signs of cancer and cardiovascular disease not being so obvious, Kraft Body Scan all month long, June being the National Cancer Survivors Month, they're offering a couple's heart and lung scan for only $99. And this is the best special that I've seen since I've been talking about Kraft Body Scan. They've done specials here and there from time to time, but this is a big deal. It is over $2,600 off their regular scan price for their CT scan. And Kraft Body Scan wants early detection to be a part of your medical plan. They want you to do this with a fair amount of regularity to make sure that there's nothing going on inside of your body before you feel it or before you see it. Celebrate National Cancer Survivors Month by investing in your health and the health of your loved ones by scheduling a $99 couples heart and lung scan today at craftbodyscan.com. That's craftbodyscan.com. Be proactive. Prioritize your health with Kraft Body Scan. Here's that number, 615-436-1000, 615-436-1000 for the one and only Kraft Body Scan. Tell them I sent you. My man, J.K. Brister, his wife, Erica, they run U.S. Pest, and I love the way they do their business. Have you seen their billboards around town? I mean, let me brag on these guys for a moment. I know you're here to talk about a free pest inspection. I know you're here to talk about those bugs that make life harder, especially in the springtime or the summer. I know we're concerned about termites. We're concerned about spiders. We're concerned about centipedes and roaches and all of these things on your property or in your home, goodness forbid. But let me brag on these guys for a second, because when you see a U.S. Pest billboard around town, most often you see American flags flying above it. Why? Because J.K., Erica, and the team at U.S. Pest, they believe in this country, so much so that they put some of it in their name, U.S. Pest. Friends, I believe in the way that they do their business. I believe that they can help you with regard to your termite control or your bug population or your lawn or your home. All you need to do is call for a free pest inspection. They do things the right way, and they are proud Americans. And I'm proud to be associated with U.S. Pest. Call today at 590-1260, 615-590-1260, or uspest.com. That's uspest.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you. Really is reality radio. We should start calling it that, because that's what we try to do on a day-to-day basis. Any Mac Morey sightings so far, Belkay? No? All right, well, we're holding out hope.
I think he's already left for Kansas City.
Maybe so. I don't know. I mean, if he did so without his gift. You want to be the recipient of some of this gift if he doesn't pick it up?
Sure.
I mean, some of the stuff is not going to really be for you, but some of the stuff I think you could probably, figure out.
As my grandmother used to say, free is free.
If it's free, I'll take 3.
Yes.
25 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A lot of activity on the Super Text line regarding my ideas about how we could get ourselves out of the situation that largely Joe Biden has gotten us in. Donald Trump was going a long way to getting us out of it. In the meantime, prosecutors are playing excerpts from Hunter Biden's book about his addiction. So they're establishing that he was clearly addicted on drugs at the time that he lied and said that he was not addicted on drugs. And the defense is going to play on the sympathies of the jury here and suggest that he didn't understand the question. The question being, are you an unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana or any depressant, stimulant, narcotic drug, or any other controlled substance? To which he answered no. And he was clearly an addict at the time that he made that answer. Anyway, we're monitoring that for what it's worth. I've already given my opinion on it. I think that the fix is in on that and that it will never, ever, ever lead to a conviction. But you know what? I've been wrong before. In the meantime, your calls. Jeremiah in Cookeville. Thank you for holding, Jeremiah. I hope you're well.
I'm okay.
Oh, no. Jeremiah. J-Man. J-Dog. Jeremiah.
You can't. You can't hear me?
I hear you now. I hear you good.
Okay. Sorry. I talked to you yesterday on the text line. I talked about the trial and about what it would take for you not to vote for Donald Trump.
Yes, sir.
May I make a comment about the N-word? Wasn't that what y'all was talking about earlier?
I made a comparison between the use of the Q word and how the LGBTQ community, they're trying to, it seems to me, to take ownership of the Q word in the same way that certain aspects of the black community try to take ownership of the N word with regard to their being able to use it, but you can't, whatever.
In my family, I'm in a mixed family. My wife is black. My 2 kids are biracial. And we do not allow that word in the house.
Good for you. Good for you.
And the only time my kids have heard it, we had a crazy neighbor who would ask me for rides. I give him rides, and he called me the white devil while I'm giving him a ride and stuff like that. And he called me the N-word in front of my kids, and we had to stay away from him after that. But I just thought it was funny. But I was talking about the trial. All court cases are rigged for the prosecution. They give the opening arguments first, and they give the last closing arguments. So it just is disappointing that y'all are just now complaining about the justice system when Trump gets convicted, when it's been like this forever.
Well, I've recognized, and you have a supporter in the background there, Jeremiah, I can hear, but...
Yeah, it's my baby girl.
Oh, that's all good. How old is she?
4.
Oh, she's 4 years old. I bet she's precious.
Oh, she's beautiful. It scares me to death. Here you go. Let's do her phone back.
Yeah, that's cute. Okay. That's funny. Look, Jeremiah, I have long talked about over the years that I've been on radio, and I hope you are able to listen as much as possible, but I've long talked about the failures of the judicial system. Obviously it's not a perfect system in as much as our system is designed to send guilty people free, preferably than to send innocent people to jail. That said, I don't believe that worked in this case. Secondarily, you said, have you had experience with the legal system yourself?
I've been arrested 2 times for a suspended license that I did not have. I had to literally bail out of jail, pay court costs, and go to the DMV, get a piece of paper saying, I don't have a suspended license, and take it to court, and then they dismiss it. I still had to pay all sorts of money. And that's just craziness. And also, I told Chris Hand about when I got arrested for assaulting a police officer over the phone, and they locked me up for 7 days over that. When I was 17, I was a kid.
Well, Jeremiah, duly noted. You seem to have a lot of activity there in the background. You go handle that 4-year-old, buddy, and I appreciate your call this afternoon on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll take more of them in a moment. It is 2:30. You're listening to The Murphy Show on Super Talk. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy. And the Matt Murphy Show continues. We'll check in with Brian Wilson. So much I have not gotten to as of yet. The show somewhat hijacked by the presence of the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden, as he made remarks from the White House, attempting to salvage whatever he can. You know, it occurs to me that those in the mainstream media and those in the Biden administration that want to take advantage of convicted felon Donald Trump. Well, you did the other day. Those that want to take advantage of this are preying on stupid people or people who choose to be ignorant about the situation. The same can be said about their immigration policy or lack thereof. This executive order, they are winking at and nodding at those that believe in open borders. I mean, he just said, hey, just be patient with us. For those who think these are too harsh, just be patient. Oh, we'll go back to the original plan right after the election. We got an election to win. And they're preying on the stupidity of the voter, or at least they're depending on it. The Biden administration, who reversed by executive order all of the effort put forth by the Trump administration, effort that was rabidly opposed, vilified, called everything and anything, every word that they could imagine to make it as bad as humanly. They called him xenophobic. They said he hated brown people. They claimed that he called all Mexicans racist. Or rather that he called all, get it right, Murphy. They claimed that he called all Mexicans rapists, and in doing so called him a racist. Neither of which is true. Donald Trump did the things necessary to secure our southern border, and every Democrat, elected Democrat in the United States of America, outside of a precious few on the southern border, they stood against him as he attempted to do so. And now the same Democrats who are in control, who have allowed unfettered illegal immigration to come across our southern border over the last 3.5 years, millions upon millions upon millions of people have come into this country for their own purposes and for their own aims. The Democrats today in the White House just blame the Republicans for that. Does anybody believe that? All you have to do is go look at the bill proposed by the Democrats and that squishy GOP member in the Senate, and you'll see all you need to see. All you need to know is that the House of Representatives passed House Bill number 2. The Senate has Senate Bill number 2 sitting in front of it right now waiting for action that would actually do something about southern border security, that would fund the border wall. And they do nothing. The Senate Democrats do nothing. In the meantime, you on the phones would love to hear from you. Let's see who's been holding the longest. Is it line 6, Bell? Do I have that right? Christopher, you have won. Hello, Christopher.
Hey. Hello, how are you? Hi, I want to talk about immigration for a little bit.
Yes,
if
sir.
You don't mind?
Yes, sir.
There is a solution to it. It's a multifaceted approach. First, you have to secure the actual border. Now, it doesn't have to be a big wall that goes across the whole border between America and Mexico, but there are holes that can be patched, and using the technology that we already have and the manpower that we already have, using the laws that we already have, we can secure the border. It just has to be done. That's the first step in this approach to actually solving the immigration problem. But then, sort of almost tangential to that, there has to be a more robust judicial system at the border to, adjudicate claims for asylum. I think we still need to do that, but we can't let that little loophole sort of hang ourselves, and so those who are trying to get in that way needs to come in through the gate that's allowed. And
we lost the call there, Christopher. I don't know what happened. I don't think it was on our end. I'll blame Bell, and unless I'm given a reason to do otherwise. It's my natural MO. Anytime between noon and 3 that something negative happens, I'm going to blame Headless Bell unless otherwise noted. So I will blame him for the suspension of that call. It was fully his fault. He has no defense. If he had a defense, he would currently be defending himself. It's not as if he's on a call right now and can't possibly defend himself. He is easily able to get to the microphone and offer a spirited defense if he wanted to, yet he has none to offer. He clearly suspended the telephone call. I don't know what you did to him, Christopher. I humbly apologize. I am so sorry. No. I'm currently, are you hearing what I'm doing right now, by the way? Were you on the phone? And we'll get over here before I get back to Christopher. I was in the midst of raking you over the coals, saying that it was your responsibility, that anything negative that happens on the radio show between noon and 3, it's your fault until proven otherwise. And it was obviously you that suspended the telephone call. You hung up on him for some reason.
He was boring me, and I just quit, done with it.
You would have cut off.
That's why I put him back on hold when he just called back in, because I didn't want to hear him.
Christopher, sorry about that. In all seriousness, you got cut off. You got cut off for some reason. We're going to blame Bell K until otherwise noted. But anyway, you were saying.
I appreciate you. You taking my call. I'm sorry. I'm not sure. And I'm sorry for being so boring. I'm sorry this is boring, guy.
He's messing around.
No, I was just going to say I don't know where I was, but basically that those who, we need to have a better streamlined way to actually come in the country. I do have friends who have gotten their visas, and man, it took years and years and thousands of dollars to make it, to do it legally. And that needs to be better. That needs to be handled better. So clearly that needs to be handled, because if you do try to come in legally, even if you have all the right documentation and everything's right and everything is perfect, you still get raked over the coals. So that's the sort of the second thing. The third thing is, this is really important. There needs to be a way for make it difficult for people to do business in America if they're not a citizen or legally, have a legal reason to be here. So, whether you add something to your driver's license that says that you checked out, or maybe have a passport card that everyone has, but the trick to that though is that has to be used if you're going to cash a check or send money, wire money, or if you're going to rent a vehicle or buy or rent a house or any kinds of rent equipment. You can't really. It makes it almost impossible to do business here if you don't have that some sort of ID. And honestly, it's not much different. You can't open a bank account now if you don't have some sort of ID.
I remember 15 or 20 years ago debating the merits of a national ID card, and so many of my conservative friends and my libertarian friends as well either poo-pooed the idea or responded just forcefully against it. Because what
are the arguments against it? I don't.
It's kind of the show us your papers, please. That we should have the ability for movement and for free trade without having the government demand that we demonstrate our paperwork moving state to state or community to community.
Yeah, I get that.
It's not a constitutional responsibility. It's a state responsibility to ensure those are the argument. I'm not even saying that I don't agree with you at this point. I think. Well,
like in order to fly, I think it's coming up soon that you got to have a particular little thing on your ID. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to fly.
ID. Yeah, that's right. Star ID.
Exactly. So if you go to Home Depot and going to rent a piece of equipment, you got to show your ID. If you go open a bank account, you got to show your ID. If you go cash a check, you got to show an ID.
Look,
you got to show an ID to do anyway.
Hope that if you have to vote, if you go to vote, I want you to have to show an ID.
Yeah, show an ID.
Here's the thing. I feel like we're saying the same thing in different ways, but I think you would get a lot more people on board with your concept, which I don't disagree with necessarily, if you say, okay, if we're not going to have somewhat of a national identification, and this is what the Star ID does largely, let's standardize the state identification so state to state, the various states understand what they're looking for, and they can understand better what to look for in a fraudulent or counterfeit identification.
Exactly. Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is just if you make it difficult to do business here if you can't get that ID and have that kind of recognition. It's almost impossible, because now you can't work and send money home. You can't send your kids to school. You can't get health care. It just makes it almost impossible to just live here. You can't rent a car. You can't buy a car. You can't cash a check. And then the last thing, the fourth thing, is that there needs to be better diplomacy with these countries that their own citizenry is running away from them. We need to hold them accountable for their own citizens, whatever it takes to help them do better, so that they're not running away from their own country. So, I can only imagine, again, this is sort of, I feel like we need to have a little bit of compassion for these people. I can't imagine what it'd be like the position in your own country to be so bad that you feel like you have to take up your family and flee.
Well,
look, there's that as well.
Yeah, and let me answer both of those as I say goodbye. Christopher, keep listening on the radio, and I'm going to answer both aspects of what you just said. I have long said that, absent the drug dealers and the drug mules and the child smugglers and all of those nefarious types, the potential terrorists that are coming across our southern border. I mean, there's a lot of bad people that have flocked to the southern border because they're going to take advantage of something that many good people that are just looking for a better life are taking advantage of. For 25 years, as I have been on talk radio, I've said the same thing, that I do not blame those that are looking for a better life, in as much as there but for the grace of God go I. And I think all of you need to put yourself in the position that Christopher asked us to put ourselves in. I mean, if you're growing up in Haiti or Guatemala, if you're growing up in Central or South America, if you're growing up in Mexico City and you are absolutely abjectly dirt poor, poverty like most of us in the United States of America cannot possibly imagine. And I told you all you have to do is come to the southern border, say asylum, and you can work your butt off and send money home to your family. I think it's presumptuous and frankly disingenuous that we would sit here and say, no, Mirth, I wouldn't do that because I believe in the law. No, come on, man. Let's deal in reality. But that does not mean that we do not have a responsibility to the United States of America and our citizens first. We do. We cannot be the benevolent money pot for the world. Our wealth is built on freedom and personal perseverance and independence and work ethic and free markets. It is not built on the concept of handing out to others in hopes that they will correct the error of their ways. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't do certain things that give nations that want to a position to do better for themselves. So, no, it has always been incumbent upon the United States of America to create an immigration policy that puts the American citizen first. And any immigration policy that we initiate, look, my moratorium on any and all entry into the United States of America by declaration of national emergency would be followed up by a summit to correct the issue of our immigration policy. And I would put number one on our mission statement to do that which benefits the United States of America first, middle, and last. And by a residual impact and effect, you're going to be able to draw individuals into this country that's going to benefit them and their families as well. All right, so that's what I have to say about that. Sadly, we will not get to all of you today. A lot of phone activity with regard to Joe Biden's comment on immigration policy and how he has shifted his ways on his executive orders, really rolling back a lot of the executive orders that he initiated that led to the national crisis that we have at the southern border today. We'll find out what Brian Wilson thinks about all of it coming up next and what he has to come on The Drive on Super Talk 99.7 WTN right after this. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy winding up our portion of the broadcast day on this Tuesday edition, anticipating the drive with Brian Wilson. And in that anticipation, we get to have a conversation with Brian about what we can expect and get a first look, a little peeky peek into the drive as to his response. Hey, the president's being strong on the southern border, Brian. He's being I couldn't get through it.
Hey, boy, that was a good one there, Matt.
I couldn't get through it. Oh, boy.
Oh, my Lord. I mean, is there ever been a more transparent act of desperation by a president? I mean, it wasn't long ago that he was bragging about what he was going to do when he became president and how he was going to, do everything he could to bring amnesty to people. And then you got Mayorkas in early in 2021 talking about, oh yeah, we've rolled back so much of Trump's stuff at the border, I can't even list it all. And now he's trying to claim that it's the Republicans' fault that we have this crisis on the border. I mean, that's about as rich as it gets. And I'm loaded for bear to talk about this right after the news here in just a bit.
Oh, I bet you are. I mean, my goodness. I mean, the simplicity that he thinks that we're stupid. I mean, he has to
do they
pivot
think
this
we're
thing.
that dumb? I mean, honestly, do they really think we're that dumb? We know what this is all about. This is about an election that's 5 months away. This is about a debate that he's about to have to undergo.
That's right.
With Donald Trump, and he wants to be able to go in and say, well, I did what I could do. Congress wouldn't do a darn thing, and Donald Trump, you tried to stop this. You know what? There should never have been any need for action because it was fixed when he became president, and it became broken when he rolled back the policies of Donald Trump. And that's just a fact. There's no way you can wiggle out of that one.
Well, I have some in non-related or non-political related news. I do have some reporting from the Mount Juliet community that I want to relate to you, Brian, because I saw some reporting on social media of your own, and I have an updated report on the cicada situation in Mount Juliet. The cicadas, Brian, are gone.
Yeah, but it was like on a Sunday. I guess it was Sunday afternoon. I was sitting out and I went, man, they're gone. It was so apparent that they just like as fast as they came, they went away. We won't see them again for better part of a decade or more.
Well, whatever made the cicadas go away, let's figure out how to do that with the Democrats. And life would be so much better and so much less noisy.
If only they would go underground for 13 years, we would be in such a
We would be just fine. Well, here he comes. It's The Drive with Brian Wilson following the newscast on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 4 full hours of what I am certain to be radio excellence, and we'll be listening. Hope you are as well. We're back tomorrow, high noon, for another edition of The Matt Murphy Show. Until then, have a wonderful afternoon, folks. Unless your name is Bob, hug your loved ones, folks. We'll talk to you tomorrow. So long, everybody.